Welcome to Creating from the Heart. I'm Susie Vance, and this is Selah Brooks who's with me today.
Hey, morning everybody.
So how are you?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there.
You got a lot going on.
I got a lot going on. You know, the thing is, my granddad always told me, if you ain't busy, you ain't making money.
Oh, there you go.
So, you got to stay busy. Absolutely.
But you're busy with more than making money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What it comes down to is just trying to have really good time management, right? Like, if you're not waking up early and planning out your days and putting stuff in your calendar, everything gets crazy. And you don't want that. You don't want that. If you got busy, you got to have organization and structure. It's really important.
You sound like an organized guy.
It's important.
So, Selah, I know that you are in marketing. Did you ever think you would be doing that when you were a kid?
Susie, I'm not going to lie. No, I didn't. The thing is, it kind of just fell into my lap, right? I played ball in high school, played football, ran track. I was an athletic guy. And before I got into marketing, I would watch my YouTube videos in 144p, right? That's until I met my wife. So I had no idea that I was going to do marketing. So what happened was I was homeless for 3 months and I slept in my car.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
how old were you?
19. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I slept in my car for like 3 months. And Mr. Presley, which is one of my teachers for communications or introduction to business in LaPorte High School, he called me one day. He was like, hey, man, we're going to have this program. We're taking a bunch of kids and we're going to help them with resumes and we're going to help you get a job, right? And so he told me, he's like, you get a free Chromebook just for coming. So I'm homeless. I was like, all right, dude, I'll be there because I'm going to sell that and try to make some money, right? And so he was like, we're going to help you with your resume. So basically, if your resume sucked, you were there. And mine was awful. My resume is really bad. So I get to this building and it's a marketing company, right? Can't say the name of the marketing company right now. Got some stuff going on with them, but it was a marketing company. And I was just talking to him and I was like, well, hey man, I really don't want to go work for a factory job, right? Making $15 an hour. I like to sell. And so we started talking and they called me back a few days later and they were like, hey, listen, you got the right attitude. You got the right mentality. What do you think about being a sales guy for us? Right? I said, yeah, like I didn't even know what the hell I was selling. I just said yes because I wanted to sell something because I knew that was my gift and that's what I love to do. And so I took a 100% commission-based job while I was still sleeping in my car, and that job was in marketing. So,
whoa.
Yeah, so it really changed my perspective because as a 19-year-old kid, like I didn't know, the reason why people do billboards and have so much advertising and different things like that is because I'm their ideal customer and they want me to spend money with them. I had no clue. I didn't know what SEO was, didn't know what social media marketing was. I didn't know about websites. So it's a saying called fake it till you make it. I did that for 1 year, right? Like I would go out and I wasn't even a salesman at this point, Susie. I was just an appointment setter, right? So I would go out, I would get the appointment, I would bring my bosses back,
to do the sales.
And they would do the sales. So it came clear to me, the more appointments I get, the more I can learn. So I had a goal for 10 meetings a week, right? And so I didn't say anything. I was this weird kid. I had this little laptop. I was in a corner, right? And I was just listening. But the more repetition, the more meetings I got, the more I learned. And that was year one. Year one, I made like $3,000, right? It was not good, right? But I stayed with it. Year two, they were like, okay, man, you can do this by yourself. And it's easier when you watch the professionals do it opposed to you doing it yourself, right? So I had to learn and curve. It was really, really tough for me to get into it. And let's just say, I wasn't as bad as the first year, but I wasn't good either, right? The third year is where I really started putting everything together and started to gel and mesh. My fourth year is when kind of everything exploded for me. I really started to figure out a good system, really start to, hone in on my trade and my skills and the way I talk to people, networking, of course. And then year 5 is now where I'm at. And I had no clue about what saying yes to an opportunity would take me, from going to be a homeless guy to, like you said, being a busy man and all this other stuff. So I had no clue. I just kind of, took a shot, took a chance, took a risk.
Took a risk.
Yeah, it was all.
Said yes.
All or nothing and nothing at all. Put my money on black, right? And kind of just went with it. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Thanks.
What a great story.
Yeah, and that's the short version, right? That's the PG-13 short version.
Yes. What's the rest of it?
Well,
a lot of struggle, I bet.
Oh yeah. Well, the first thing is confidence
and tenacity.
Right. So I had the mentality because I actually grew up in Cleveland, right? And I grew up in the hood, girl, straight up ghetto.
I know
right?
the Cleveland hood.
Yes. So there wasn't a lot that I was afraid of, right? Like I wasn't scared to talk to people, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I should be saying. So when you're new to an industry, you don't really. I was more of like a street salesman, right? So when I was sleeping in my car, the way I would make money is if I sold stuff in my car that I didn't need, right? So my Jordans, my jerseys, my hoodies, my jacket, I would go out there and I would talk to people on the street, right? Make them laugh, do all this other stuff, and then I got paid. But it's different in business because if you don't have a certain kind of poise, right, and like structure to yourself, you won't get that close, right? Because this business owner, they've been talking to 40 years worth of salespeople, right? So you need to make sure
they want somebody real.
Exactly. So, you can be funny, but if you don't know how to provide value, all right, or know how to get their attention, you're not going to make any money. So everything was new to me, and it was always like a growth, right? Like, where can I get better? Where can I improve? Where can I get better? Where can I improve? Even though this is my 5th year of marketing, I'm 23 right now, it's still not easy, right? Because everything changes, right? And not only
but you sound like you know how to change.
Absolutely. It's being able to get through adversity, right?
And pivot.
Right? And then also understanding there's always room for growth, right? Like you're not going to be Michael Jordan one day, right? Or being at the top of the mountain. And honestly, what I've learned is there is no top of the mountain.
Thank you.
Once you get to the top, it's another level,
well,
and
it's
another
just
level,
your top.
and another level. Exactly.
You're only looking for yours.
Right. So,
I mean, along the way, you want to help other people, and that's one of the gifts that you have. You are a person who provides service to other people, and to really help out other people is important. Yeah.
Well, I just remembered kind of just being in my car, right? Like, I didn't have any family members, didn't really have any friends. I didn't have a support system. The only person I had was God and my wife. Love you, girl. Right? And that's it. Everything else, it was like.
Was she in the car with you?
No, she actually was at her mom's house. Her mom didn't let me stay there. But it's okay. So
her mom just wanted to see if you could do it.
Right, exactly. She was like, you know what, we're going to give him some time. But one thing I learned is it built a lot of character, and also a high accountability. Like I had to hold myself responsible for my own actions, right?
Right.
And once you realize that you're the problem or you're the issue, you actually raise your level of understanding, so don't make the same mistakes that you made in the past.
Hopefully.
Exactly. And then you can move forward.
Right.
But it also taught me, like I said, kind of how to get through things, right? Get through adversity, and then be resourceful.
Yes.
Be very, very resourceful.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Always looking for an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you never know where they're going to show up.
Exactly. And you know what? It also taught me to be very appreciative, just because basically my dad kicked me out, right? Right after I graduated high school, I'm talking about the day of graduation, I tossed my cap, everything. I got a text that said, son, you can never come back home, right? I'm moving to a different state. You got to try to make it by yourself. That's the text I got on graduation.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I went home.
Have you seen your dad lately?
No, we don't. Me and my dad actually don't talk.
I bet.
Yeah, so that's not really much to say. But I got home, and he actually was, everything I owned was packed in my car, right? And I watched my dad just kind of was like, he just told me, good luck, drove off, right? It was crazy, Suze, because I actually thought he was just playing. Maybe it was like a scare tactic, because he was telling me to get a job and everything else like that. And after 3-4 hours, I'm like, yeah, okay, he ain't coming back, right? And so I've actually been homeless before, because I lived in Cleveland with my mom, single mom, 6 kids. So we always had to make it work, right? Like find a way to make it work. This is the only time I was actually homeless by myself, right? Got to do all the work.
And you had to make it work.
Exactly. So my mom, mama, she'd figure it out. Like she'd drop me off at daycare. We'll figure it out. I had to figure it out, right? And so I went to the Salvation Army, because that's what my mom would do. They would take us to the Salvation Army, and they had soup kitchens.
Yes, they do.
And what I realized was, here I am saying I'm homeless, and I'm sleeping in my car, right? This guy is actually homeless. Like, I seen a bunch of people who were all sitting at a table. It's kind of like if you go to jail, right? Like, hey, what you in for? What you in for? What you in for? But it was like situation. Like, what's your situation? What's your situation? One dude said that he was very homeless, and he needed to sleep on a bench, and he was basically a cardboard box with his blanket, right? Like, that's what he used to stay warm. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sleeping in my car. So it automatically made me realize, one, it's actually not that bad. It couldn't be worse, right? So appreciate the fact that you at least sleeping in your car.
Yes.
And two, if I don't get my act together, I'm gonna end up like them, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. So what could I do to make sure that, one, I appreciate my situation, understand it's just a storm of the past and it's gonna get better.
Right.
And then two, like, what's my next step, right? What opportunities can I make for myself? Because before I got into sales,
or how can I be open so when the opportunity comes and crosses my path, I recognize it.
Exactly. So for me, when I got that call, I just wanted the Chromebook, right? They say God works in mysterious ways. I needed something to sell so I can make money because I was on a roll, right? And I went for a Chromebook. Little did I know, I was actually going for a bigger opportunity, and those skills that I learned while selling to people and talking to people on the street were going to take me to the next level in my life. I was actually being prepped for something bigger. I just didn't know what it was, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it's just all about learning and growing and trying to figure out like what that next opportunity was. But also you got to have that same mentality that got you where you are right now, right? Like, so for me, that's still waking up early, still talking to people, still being myself and being me, but also having that same hustle, that same grind, that same mind state, or the mindset where it's like, I don't want to be homeless. And if I am homeless, if I get rich and I'm homeless, I'm going to have me a really nice car. That way, if I ever go out to sleep in my car, it's going to be the car that I want, right? Like, I'm not going to have a 2006 Chevy Trailblazer. Sully ain't going to do it. I'm going to have butterfly doors. I'm going to have TVs in my seat so I can enjoy myself. It's important.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
So you are on to great things. What is it you are doing today?
Well, so I actually switched jobs.
I know that.
Right. So I went from working with the previous company.
Yes.
Can't say a lot of stuff there legally, but working with the previous company to working with the Idea Farm. And so now it's really, like I talked about, pivot. It's all about pivoting. So I spent 4 years at the previous company working there, learned a lot of things and stuff like that. And now it's how do I change, because I'm in a completely different market.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, before, when I was working with the previous company, it was really like LaPorte, Michigan City, right? Building my base there, right? Now I'm with a different company. I'm in Valpo, which I was already a part of the chamber. Right. But it's some things that's different now because I have to try to focus on doing things for this new company and figure out like, what's my new market? Because once you network at a high level, be able to socialize with a high level, you're going to realize, okay, I was in this Michigan City market, but it might be tapped, right? Like when I walk into a room, I know everybody in the room. That means that I probably need to go to a new room. That don't mean I can't do anything with those people, but as a sales guy, I need to introduce myself to new opportunities, new people, new companies, new businesses, right? So I'm trying to figure out how exactly do I do that in a different market, replicate what I did with the old chambers and the old company and do that here and try to maximize on that. And sometimes you can duplicate a process, but sometimes you need to tweak it just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Exactly.
Sometimes big bit.
Exactly. So now, and also the company, the Idea Farm, they do things differently from our previous company. So now I have to learn their ways and learn how they do things and kind of implement that into my strategy, whether it's networking, marketing, or sitting across face-to-face with a business owner and trying to get that close. But again, it's always room for improvement. You always have to learn. You always have to pivot. And there's no top of the mountain. So once I get to maximize it, what I'm gonna do next? Figure out where else can I go and maximize that.
And you also, I think, have a gift probably for helping people who are on the edge, meaning they're maybe homeless, but they still have a thirst for opportunities. Yeah. And you have that to help.
Yeah, it's been quite a few times I've met with certain individuals where they have a dream and they have an idea, right? But they don't know how to capitalize on it, actually make it happen. Whether it's structure, process, networking, connections. And for me, it's not like every meeting is not about money. I know what people did for me in my past to help me get to where I'm at today. Right. Because one of the biggest things is when I was sleeping in my car, I can tell you so many times where weird things just happen. Like I talked to a guy and he told me about body language and he told me about attitude. And I took that information and maximized it to get me into a new position. So I was previously talking to one of my buddies and he's going through a tough time. And he was like, listen, man, I want to start this company. right? I want to get custody of my daughter. I need money. I don't want to keep going to working for people for a 9 to 5 and going bounce around the jobs. And I sat there and I helped them like, hey man, this is how you structure it. And you're going to be a contractor. This is how you get tax write-offs under your business name. You get everything that I learned from the 4 years of being a 1099 contractor. I taught him. And was like, listen, if you're going to run this business, you got to understand how to write stuff off.
Right.
You got to understand how to set bookings and how to make sure people don't miss appointments, because when you miss appointments, you miss money, right? So make them pay a deposit, or you can make them pay a retainer, right? It's the difference between a deposit and a retainer. Deposits are refundable, right? Retainers usually are non-refundable. So doing different things where I'm like, he was like, dude, I really appreciate it. I'll pay you whenever I get my business going. I said, dude, don't pay me.
Pay
you
it
do
forward.
this. Exactly. You take the same information I gave you, and when you see somebody across from your situation, help them out. Tell them everything that I told you, because I made them write notes, and like show them this information. And that way you can, because some people had to sit me down, right, at some point and say, listen, Selah, like this is how you do this, and explain stuff to me. And you need those people, right, that not necessarily are in it for the money. They just literally want to give you a piece of information that's going to change your life, right? My granddad used to say, like, knowledge is meant to be supplied, not denied, right? So supply that knowledge and kind of help other people out. It's important.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you, Selah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Creating from the heart, the artistry of living. I'm here with Selah Brooks. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Absolutely. You're welcome. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.